this is Critstar, and today I am weeble wobbling wavetables. Wavetables with weeble wobbles. Something like this. And we're going to talk about modulation and being able to do what I was doing here automatically and still making kind of the almost dubstep like ish wobbles and or the stuff that currently going around that's really popular these days with the womp 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 type of stuff. We want to automate that. We want to sit there and we want to make it so that we don't have to constantly do this or record it while doing this onto the thing, although we could do that if we wanted to. Ultimately, what I want to do is I want to not move only this, but move also our filter so that it can go and maybe our drive. And we could do that in several ways. We could do it at the track level here. We could do it on this level, which is the instrument level. Or we could do it on the project level, and if we got other tracks that we want to wobble with the same type of thing that we come up with, we could do it. One of the main issues that I have with using the track is that you're only stuck with using the modulators that are built in kind of here. And these modulators are really good, don't get me wrong. But if you want to go with any other advanced modulators, you're kind of out of luck. And I'll show that later. But let me start off with the bass modulators. The thing that almost every keyboard, every synth has. You have your typical LFO modulator that goes somewhat in either a sine type wave, repeatedly, multiple times, multi times, and it just keeps on doing that for infinitum. Or a envelope that's usually ADSR envelope that sits there and it's usually a one shot. Something triggers it, like a key press or something. Like it's doing here, you can see it. It does it one time, it does the modulation, and then it's done. So if I use this, we modulate the index a little bit, we turn off the modulation. And it just one shots. It plays it, it stops. Now the LFO, if I were to do the same thing, It does it back and forth constantly. But how many tracks have you heard where it sounds kind of like that, where it goes back and forth? Not really. Mostly what they tend to do is they play it and do something like that. So we kind of need to come up with some kind of unique sounding modulation other than an envelope and a LFO. So thankfully, Bitwig has a lot of modulation potential, kind of like curves, which do the same thing as an LFO, but we can draw what we want to do. So with this one, it'll go up and then go like that. So we can set it. We can go like this. And when you hit this, it should show all of the LFOs that are over here that are affecting it. So right now, only curves affects it. And it looked like it. If we wanted to change it, we could do a little bit, like go in here, change it around, go in, and then do this. It changed how the curve is, and it's pretty cool. It's also known as like an MSEG editor. We can speed it up a bit. But what I want to do is I want to make it different than what we have. So what we can do is we can do things like modulate, turning it off and on by the other type of modulators. And as this one, as the filter up here cuts off, you'll see that this starts going down. So basically what it does is it quickly turns it on and then shuts it off so it doesn't hear the last part of it, so it stops wobbling. So if the wobbles are getting less and less done over the time I'm holding down sustaining the note. And then it's going back up when the filter's doing. And we could also do other things like clicking on this and then altering like the tempo or the timing. And as you can see, it's kind of slowing down and speeding up and going through over the curve like that. And getting the different sort of wobbles. And we could just keep on adding stuff. There's also stuff that we could do key tracking. We can move up and down the keyboard and be able to do the, like, depending on the key, where it is on the key press, we could actually do things that mess with, like, say, the tempo of the curve also with the key press, or turn off and on the modulation along with the key press, or the pitch. Sorry, the pitch. So let me do something on a bigger scale. Let me turn on my bigger keyboard. And my bigger keyboard is not working. Yeah. Let me. As you can see, when I'm going up and down the octaves, this actually goes up and down. This goes up and down along with the octaves. So the lower the octave is, the more it turns on and then comes down. But that's when I press it instantly. But if I'm pressing the higher octaves, it starts off already low and then shuts off entirely. And then now you see it as it's going straight. There is no LFO. Done. Now with these, we want bass and stuff like that kind of things, because the bass has a nice good sounding growl or whatever that goes through it. So we kind of want to keep in the same tone or the pitch or the octave. So the key press isn't really good for us at this stage. We could mess around with the lower octaves and do and add stuff. So we're at that, we're gonna lower it down, we're gonna... Actually, I think it's reverse. There we go. Forgot it goes, and so it allows us to mess with the modulators that way too. So we can modulate the modulators that modulate the modulators that modulate the modulators. It allows us to get some really unique and interesting growls along with the modulation. We could do MIDI. We could do something like how hard I'm pressing the velocity. If I remember right, that's in this one. We can do velocities. We can edit. So what I'm basically doing is I'm altering this on the velocity. So a light key press. Versus a hard key press will give me a difference in my filter. And if I'm not mistaken, this turns off and on the filter here, so I can Or the envelope, sorry, the envelope. Turns off and on the envelope. So I can disable the envelope by giving a light press, or I can turn it on by giving a light press. Because I have velocity sensitive pads that I'm using. Or I can do a hard one and it goes on the negative. I think that this is... Let me mess with the filter too, a lot. We mess with the resonance a lot. That was the filter. Overall, pretty cool stuff, and that's just in the polymer type of thing, or I mean, sorry, that's just the usual stack of modulators. Like I said, there's quite a few of them that Bitwig that can mess with stuff. We can have buttons that turn stuff on. We can have knobs, and we can set a range. Steps are a cool one. Where if I wanted to actually set this to a range of 16 steps, and then say, hey, I want to mess with this on stepwise, and use this as a transport. So when this is playing, so now it does it to the transport. So this is all well known and good. Additionally, what we could do is we could stick this all into a polygrid. And then put this and then put it into the effects of the polygrid. If I'm not mistaken, there's a modular out that's here. That this can alter anything within the effects. And then what we could do is we can come up with our own custom modulators on this one. So we could take the phase, we can put the phase, we can bend it a bit. You take an initial input phase in, and let's mess with. Let's actually stop all the craziness here. Curious if my cat's being vocal on the microphone, because he is crying. All right, and what I want to do is I want to set the index on here. I was looking for these. This one kind of doesn't work. I was looking for something that can change it or change the different pulses. We could do additional, and then use those. Oops. Data. Add a saw. And then what we could do is we're going to apply logic to turn it off and on when we want. So we can turn this on and we say, I don't want a conditional. If it equals, can do selector. Well, I could do a selector. Here we go. And then go select, go to this one. And turn the whole thing off and on. And then what we could do is we could do the sample and hold. There we go. And now we got a custom modulator. And then we could still equally use these to mess with this even more. And thus create some really interesting wobbles. Not LFO wobbles, not envelope wobbles, not manual wobbles, but wobbles nonetheless. Overall, hope you liked the video. It was really fun. I love modulation. I love Bitwig and its modulation. It's got so many possibilities, so wild of coming up with concepts and ways of just sitting there. And this little thing right here is so amazing to sit there and be able to custom crank out any other type of modulation you want, other than being able to do the endless possibilities of all of these modulators here alone, and then be able to get in the grid and do your own custom modulators and crank it out and help with these things. Overall, great little tool. So hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you later.